Hey YouTube, this is Rishika and this would be my 24th video tutorial on data stage. And the previous videos, the most recent videos were on sort stage and remove duplicate stage. So in this video I'll focus on modify stage. Once we are done with the modify stage, I would make video tutorials on transformer in from next videos. And I'm thinking of making it like several parts of transformer, because I don't want to tell everything about the transformer in just one video. That makes pretty long video, and by the end of the video we can't remember what exactly is transformer. So yeah, I'm gonna work on that. I'm gonna split up different functions of transformer in different videos, so that would be easy for guys to understand, for the beginners basically. Okay, so yeah, so let's leave that topic and get into video tutorial modify on modify stage. So modify, it's obviously a processing stage, and it can have a single input link and a single output link. Okay, it can't have any more than that. Single input and single output, that's it. When you're trying to have like any more than it does not support any more input or output links. That's it. Okay, and the other thing about is modify, basically you're using it for modify stage, right? You're basically using it for modifying your data. Modifying in the sense, you can have like you can perform like different functions or operations, but you need to do it manually. The thing, yeah, that's the reason I'm not a big fan of modify stage. If everything needs to be done manually, you need to choose column names manually, you need to write whole function manual, and everything is manually. So what happens is, it's not that it's not that I'm lazy, but the thing is, when we are trying to write like a set of functions manually, what happens is, we may obviously in real time we have like a lot of columns to handle, right? So when we are trying to have those column names, there might be some mistakes in the column names or some spaces or some letter and everything. So yeah, and you don't realize that. Like yeah, I mean case sensitivity and all that stuff, so you don't realize that until the job fails. Okay, that's the main drawback of this modifier stage. But in transformer stage, like all the functions are predefined, so you're just gonna choose what function do you want and what do you want to do with that function. That's it. Unlike modify stage, transformer is pretty much like what do I say, predefined thing. So it's pretty much like automated. It's not that it's automated, but yeah, there are like less chance of errors when you use transformer. But modify, yeah, because see, we don't have anything. We need to how many columns you need to drop, how many columns you need to keep. Everything should be written here. So that's little tiresome, and also leads to some performance things, because that's obviously because in real time you don't get merchant id as a merchant id column, and all that column there may be like some fbo4e and all that, like different column names. It depends on the project. So yeah, you can't really remember what exactly is the column name, right? So that may lead to errors. So leaving that topic aside, the basic function for modify stage, as I said, is the stage is used to modify the data, modify the input data, and that modified data is written to the output. Okay, and basic functions you can do in modify, I mean the most important functions we can do modifying is, the one is we can drop the columns, and we can rename the columns. I'm not sure we can rename the columns, yeah, but we can drop the columns, and we can choose columns which we need to keep. And we can have the most important thing is, we can handle null values. We can let's say you have like nulls, and when you're trying to write it to sequential, what does it say? It says null is being written to the sequential file stage, and you can't write nulls to sequential file stage, right? So instead of choosing option in the sequential file stage like null field value option, just handle that null in the modify stage itself. So that's thing. And the other function you can perform in this modify stage is data conversions. You can have like implicit data conversions and explicit data conversions. Implicit data conversions means like converting char to varchar, integer to int 8 to int 16, int 32. Those are implicit data conversions. Explicit means when you're say when you're trying to convert date data type to string, or string to date, or something like decimal to string, or all that, like other, you don't think of them as regularly, but yeah, you can say, right, because date can't be a string, that's not just inner conversion, right? So that's explicit conversion, so you need to do it manually. So yeah, that's pretty much about the modify functions. But yeah, when you're trying to conversions, honestly speaking, conversions, I prefer doing it in transformer. I don't use modify stage. Modify stage I only use it few times, like for null handling basically. And keep and drop doesn't matter, because we can just drop if why do I want to drop in modify stage if I can drop in the source, or if I drop in the previous stage, like when I, let's say you have a source here, so I can drop it here, right? Drop it here, right? But let's say in real time you have like many more stages before modify stage. So why do I want to drop in modify stage if I can just map out, or just pull out the columns in before the modify stage, right? So if you just want to drop columns, for just dropping I don't prefer modify stage, because I can do it in copy stage. Modify stage, the thing is, it has its own modify operator. So yeah, that's pretty complex, rather than like copy operator, those are pretty simple things. So yeah, if you just want to drop, just pull out the column in mapping in the before stages, or just use the copy stage, or yeah, simple stages, right? Yeah. And yeah, mostly I don't prefer keep and modify. But yeah, if you want to keep, okay, let me just get into this. Okay, let me tell you properties and then design a job for you. Okay, modify doesn't have any property except specification. Specification is the thing, this block where we need to write our what modification you're trying to have on your data. That's the thing. This is like workspace, I say, not workplace, workspace. So this workspace, you're basically writing your own function or own thing, which by which you can modify the input data and write the modified data to your output. Okay, that's it. And it doesn't have any more options, it doesn't have only specification, and that specification, it's not that just one, you can have any number of specifications. It's a repeatable property. You see this blue icon is repeating, right? So that means it's a repeatable property, so you can have many specifications. You can say like keep in one, and drop in one other specification, and handle null in one other, and data type in conversion in one other, and all that stuff. Okay, now let me just design the job. Okay, and let me put the database as my source, because I do have enough data to handle my nulls and all that values. So yeah, and remember I do have a parameter, so let me just load my parameter set, add parameter set, and parameter set is Oracle schema 1. So see, it's pretty simple. So whenever you're trying to have your own job, try to create your parameter set, so that it makes us feel that we are doing like real-time job, and it's a good habit, you know. So yeah, now Oracle server and everything, and once you have done this, just test the connection. Okay, and the connection is successful, right? And now generate SQL, yes. And table, I want to choose employees, say employees. Okay, it doesn't matter, but just whichever case sensitive it doesn't matter. Okay, and now load your columns. It's plugin, right? Employees. Okay, here it is, and I'm trying to get all columns. Okay, and I need not view data, it works perfectly, so that's fine. Let me just drop what column I want to drop. Let me just drop email column. Okay, so just write your own syntax here, like drop, it doesn't matter, whichever case you can have, drop email. And let's say you want to drop if it's just one single column, just drop email and just leave that, and go to output here. And here you don't, the important thing about the modify stage is you don't see any mapping thing, so you need to load this column definitions again. Okay, so go to HR employees, and remember we're trying to drop drop email column, right? So just remove that thing, and now click on that. Okay, click on that, except whatever columns you want to drop, just remove that. It doesn't really make sense to me, but yeah, you want to remove that. So that's it. That's how you wanna drop email. Drop just single column. And if you wanna drop a multiple columns, just drop all these things like first name. Let's say you don't want to have like first name, and let's say you don't want to have manager ID. So these are the multiple columns you can drop. So as soon as you put as soon as you increase your column names here, the columns output gonna decrease. What did we say? Output first name, right? So first name, and what's the other thing? Manager ID. So yeah, make sure when you try to write drop statements in this modify stage, try to remove in the output too, because that if you don't write it in the output, the job gonna abort. Okay, now let's keep the path for the sequential file anything, it doesn't matter, because we pretty much finished everything in the important stages except the transformer, right? And that's pretty much it. Now just run the job and see if the columns, if the columns you dropped are still existing in the output data, or are they really dropped. So the job is successfully run. Now let's view the data. So how many columns did we drop? We dropped first name, manager ID, and email column, right? So 3 columns are dropped. So we should not see first name, manager ID, and email columns in the output data. See, there is only last name, there is no first name, and there is no email after phone number, and there is no department, manager ID too. So that worked perfectly. Okay, and yeah, I'm not gonna show keep and everything, because yeah, it can specify like pretty much everything is in here. You can have like a keep column name, so that gonna be the column's gonna be kept, and the other is new, data type conversions. But honestly, I don't prefer data type conversions in modify stage. I have experiences like throwing many errors and all that stuff. So yeah, I don't prefer doing conversions at all in modify stage. I always do it in transformer stage, because transformer we do have like input columns manual, right? So I'm not gonna show the data type conversion. I'll show it in anyway in the transformer stage very clearly. So I'm not gonna show now, but I'm gonna show how to handle null in modify stage, because that's pretty interesting and pretty easy to handle nulls, because we can handle nulls in probably any column number, right? So yeah, so now let's handle nulls, and before that let me just show you how the director looks like. Okay, so when we run the job, we do have these many warnings. So now let's see what are these warnings. So first warning, so double click that, and it says the phone number is a valid exporting schema, exporting nullable field without null handling properties, right? So it's saying there are some null values in phone number, and you're trying to write it to sequential file stage without handling null properties. Okay, so that's what it says. And everything like salary field, so it's saying salary also has null. And what are the other? Commission percent has also null. And what is this thing? Department ID. So these are the 4 columns which are saying that these have null values, but you are writing it to sequential file which does not support nulls. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna drop all these columns except commission percent, because commission percent, I remember we do have a lot of null values. So it would be easy when I handle null and give some value, it would be easy for us to identify. Other things probably I do have only probably 1 or 2 things, and we need to search for that. So let me just drop other columns too, and I'm not gonna do it drop thing here. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna drop it here itself. So what's that? First name, right? Okay, let me delete the first name, and salary, and manager ID, and dropping it in the database itself, because I don't want it to pass to the next stages. And phone number. Okay, so these are, yeah, an email too. Okay, email I dropped, right? Okay, let's remove email too. Okay, now I'm gonna handle only this. Now because we don't have anything any columns in the input. Now see, now in the input we don't have any of these columns, right? So we don't need to have this specification. What I'm gonna do is remove. Okay, so now we're gonna have only one specification, and that specification would be I'll be showing how to handle null. Okay, So now let's see how to handle null. Okay, and what's the input here? Okay, everything is good. And output, yeah, output, we don't have these columns, right? So let me just delete all the columns. Okay, why to delete all the columns? Just delete what are the things? Salary and department ID and phone number, right? So we don't want all these columns. So how many columns do we have? 1 2 3 4 5 and 3 4 5. Okay, that makes sense now. Okay, so I'm just passing same number of columns. I'm not dropping or keeping or doing anything with the columns. What I'm trying to do is, if you see here, everything is null, 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 null. I mean, not null, not null, except the commission percent, which is null. Okay, so what I'm trying to do is, I want this commission percent, I don't want this commission percent to be null. I want to give it some value. Okay, so let me show you now how to handle that. Okay, specification, what you're gonna do is just type in your what is this column name. So my column name is commission percent and space and equal to and again space. Okay, if you don't give space, I think that gonna be that gonna abort, I guess, or some syntax error and all that. And now write handle null. Okay, handle null and open the brackets, parenthesis, and now write your column again. So it's basically you're asking this commission person to handle nulls on this column. You're asking data stage to handle nulls on this column. Okay, what I'm trying to do is, I gave the common column name and then is equal to and then handle null and then again the column name. Okay, column name in parenthesis now, because I'm asking, this is my column name, so that on that column please handle null. Okay, now let me just try to run it and see how the data looks like. Okay, so I did not give any values. I'm just saying, just handle null on that column, that's it. I did not give any values, right? I mean, usually if you want to handle nulls, you give some value when it is written to data file, right? But before that, let me just show you here. See, even though we handle null, now it's saying when checking operator, when validating export schema, exporting null, I mean, it's saying the same error. But did you see here in before thing, when you are trying to do, we do have like this field commission percent is null, but no null export handling is defined, right? We do have like this so many warnings about only the commission percent, right? And we don't see them now. We do see only that null handling is not handled, but we don't see those warnings. You know why? Because those values are we handled null but we didn't give any value. So when we handle null and we didn't give any value, that gonna understand that okay, they didn't give me any specific value, but I need to handle null. So how it gonna handle is, it gonna replace all with zeros. See, these are the decimal columns, so it's going to replace all with zeros, and the precision is 2 and the scale is 2, so it's going to replace everything with zeros because we didn't specify any value, right? These all zeros means that we handle null in this column. Okay, but now what I'm gonna do is, I do want to have some value. Let's say we got an update that whoever don't have commission person, I just want to update with some let's say okay, to identify it easily doesn't make sense, commission percent can't be negative, but to identify easily which are the values we give, let me just make it negative now. Okay, and remember its precision is 2. See here, input columns, length is 2 and scale is 2, right? So you can have only I mean, you can mention your value null, I mean value which you need to replace null only at this length and this scale. So if you mention other than anything like 3000 and you don't specify any decimals or anything, the job gonna abort. You can try that too. Okay, so now my precision is 2 and length is 2, right? So what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna negative point let's say some 85. Okay, because it doesn't matter, we do have some negative value, so it gonna, I mean, we obviously gonna can recognize that. Okay, so what I'm trying to say in this is, okay, you handle null by replacing zeros, but now I do want to replace those values, handle null and replace those null values with negative 0.85. Okay, so yep, that's it. And now try running it again, and let's see in the director if it has like any errors now. Okay, now let's view the data. Now let's view the data and see what did we say in all of those nulls or in all of those zero things. You can just replace that with minus 0.85, right? Negative 0.85. So yeah, if yep, see here, everything is replaced. These are all zeros or null values actually, right? Actually in the input data these are all null values, but when you try to handle nulls without specifying any value, they were zeros, right? But now we try to handle nulls as well as specifying value. Whenever you see null value, they're going to replace with minus 0.85. so whenever you see minus 0.85, these are all the null fields. See, and yep, see again here, these are all the null field values. It means that these are all the null field values. So now that's how you're gonna handle null. See director 2, I forgot to show you the director. So yeah, if you see here, it still has this thing, right? When checking operator, this null handling properties, even though we handle null, right? That's because I missed the simple point here. We are trying to handle null, so we are trying to make, basically we are trying to make this commission percent column as null, right? So in source we do have yes in nullable field, but in output we are trying to handle null, but even though we are trying to handle null, it still says null, right? So what you're gonna do is just hit no, and now it makes sense because we are trying to handle null. We are trying it's nullable column here, but now in output we are making not nullable column because we are trying to replace all the null values with some value as minus 0.85. okay, now let's run and see how that gonna, let's just see if that warning gonna just go off, or it gonna throw up some new warnings, or yeah, all that stuff. Okay, so it should run perfectly now. And let me now show you the warnings. We are not really worrying about data because data is pretty much same, we didn't change anything, right? So let me just show you. See here, this is a previous job, this warning here. If you see my cursor, if you see my the highlighted one, that's a warning. The blue one means the job is, sorry, the blue one means the job is already done, and this is a pretty much starting from here. This is like starting job modifier, right? So this is the new job. So we don't have any warnings now, right? Because we handled null by removing that nullable field, and we changed that nullable field to not nullable. Okay, I mean we changed it nullable to not nullable, right? So that's the reason it's not showing any of the warnings. So what did we do? Okay, we changed not nullable field to not nullable, and the other thing, we gave values for nullable things, right? So yeah, that's pretty much. So see how many warnings we had, and previously it's not gonna show because yeah, we run so many times, so the previous one's gonna go off. But you remember, right? We do have so many warnings, list of warnings, but now everything is perfect, right? So this is how your job in real time should be. Everything, there should be no warnings, and everything should be good. So that's how you're gonna try to handle nulls using the modify stage. That's pretty much about this modify stage. So I'm really not going to show data conversions. I'll show it in transformer stage, how to do the data conversions and all that stuff. And that's pretty much about the modify stage, guys. Honestly, I don't use it much often, except handling nulls, that too a few times. Okay, and thank you guys, thank you so much for watching. I know you all will be waiting or more interested to see the transformer stage. I promise I'm gonna make it like very soon and in different parts, because I don't want to inculcate everything at the same time. Okay, you hope you all understood what the modify stage is, and thank you guys, thank you so much for watching.